My name's Will Fendon, and this is Live, Love Lake Oswego, the first real estate channel solely dedicated to all things Lake Oswego. If you'd ever like to have an exploratory conversation about real estate, please feel free to call or text me directly at the number on screen. But right now, my wife Jane and I are going to take you on an epic tour of all the boat easements on Lake Oswego. Okay, by the end of this video, we hope we can answer every question you ever wanted to know about boat easements in Lake Oswego.
Now, boat easements are different than the swim parks. There are two swim parks on Lake Oswego. One is the Lake Grove Swim Park and the other is the Lake Oswego Swim Park. We know because our kids grew up using these swim parks during the summer. It's so much fun. We also made a whole video about the swim parks. Check it out.
But when it comes to boat easements, it's important to understand that unless you live in a waterfront home that has a boathouse or a boat dock out in front of it, the only other way to get a boat onto Lake Oswego is by becoming a member of a neighborhood boat easement. And to do that, your property has to have deeded access to a neighborhood easement like the one that you see behind us here. This is the South Shore Glen easement. We're members of this one, so we've got a key. Come on, let's go.
Let's go.
In case you didn't know, Lake Oswego is a completely private lake. There's no public access, so if you don't use one of the swim parks or own a home on the lake, one of the most popular ways to get on the water is through a neighborhood boat easement. Okay, our easement here has great storage for kayaks, canoes, stand-up paddleboards, and South Shore Glen has 7 boat slips. Now, in selling real estate here for almost 20 years, one of the questions that I get more than all others is, if you're not looking to buy a home on Lake Oswego, how do you actually get one of these boat slips? They're super popular. And to my knowledge right now, every boat easement around the lake has a waiting list.
Yeah, we were on a waiting list for quite a while to get a boat slip. It took us about 9 years to get a boat slip because someone forgot to pay the annual dues.
Come on. I swear, she's never going to let me forget that.
Okay, but let me explain.
I missed one payment.
Let me explain the dues. So you join your easement, you pay a one-time joining fee. Then annually, in order to keep using the easement and keep your membership going, you pay a fee annually. And then once your number comes up for the boat slip, you pay for your boat slip annually. And then there's some additional fees from the Lake Corporation.
Yeah, the Lake Corporation manages the entire lake. They do a lot to keep this lake as beautiful as it is. If you want to understand how the fees work, every boat easement on the lake has slightly different fees. So they've got a great website, which you can link to in the description below for this video, if you want to go there and study up on that and even further understand how that works. But right now, we're going to take the cover off the boat and we're going to take you guys on a tour of every boat easement on Lake Oswego. It's going to be super fun. So let's go.
Woo!
The South Shore Glen easement is located at 1409 Terrace Drive. Now, just to reiterate, it's got 7 boat slips and racks for 12 canoes, plus some additional storage for stand-up paddleboards, no restroom, and no electricity down here. Okay, we are underway. Ha! Could we have asked for a better day? No, I don't think so. Next stop, Oswego Lake Villas. The address is 1335 Lakefront Drive. They've got 7 boat slips and enough canoe racks for 30 canoes, extra space for some stand-up paddleboards, a restroom, and electricity. Next stop, 300 Ridgeway Road. It's the Lakewood Yacht Club. They've got 12 boat slips, enough storage for about 18 canoes, and some stand-up paddleboards, a bathroom, and electricity. Moving on, off the right-hand side of the boat here, you can just get a glimpse of the prestigious Lakewood Peninsula. Okay, our next stop is 886 Lakeshore Road. Now, this is an interesting easement because it's actually broken into 2 parts. Southview Club number 1 has some storage for kayaks and stand-up paddleboards, and they've got this great secluded sun deck, which is also a nice swimming platform. But to show you Southview Club number 2, we've got to go all the way out and around the tip of the Lakewood Peninsula, which you can see to the right of our boat here. FYI, this bay is also the site for a hugely popular floating rock concert called Hot August Nights. As we continue towards Southview Club number 2, we're about to turn into one of the prettiest sections of the lake here. This is called Half Moon Bay. Now this is a no wake zone, so during the summer when people take their boats into downtown Lake Oswego to go to the farmer's market, to go to restaurants, to go shopping, everybody has to slow down passing through here, and it's absolutely beautiful. Southview Club number 2 is located at 1113 Lakeshore Road. They've got 3 boat slips, there's a swimming platform here, and this is a great place to launch a kayak or a stand-up paddleboard. We've passed through the narrowest section now, and we're on the other side of Half Moon Bay. That bridge that you see in the distance, that's North Shore Road, and when we cruise under it, we'll leave Half Moon Bay and enter Lakewood Bay. The next stop on our boat easement tour is 635 North Shore Road. This is North Lake Club. There are 6 boat slips here and racking for about 4 canoes and some stand-up paddle boards. It's a really great swimming platform and sun deck with electricity, and it's easy to access because it's so close to North Shore Road. We've got Lakewood Bay all to ourselves at the moment.
So you might be wondering, who maintains these easements? Well, at our easement, the members do. Every year, right before summer starts, we have an annual work party where we clean up the deck, we pull weeds, we clean up the boats and all, and we make it look great.
I think the first time we came to one of those work parties, after hiking down here about 200 steps, that's the first time we realized there's no bathroom. So I would say, plan accordingly.
Okay, let's go back to the easement tour.
We've made our way all the way around Lakewood Bay now. And those homes that you see just beyond the boat, those are located on Cabana Point Road. Now we're headed to 140 Cabana Point Road because that's the location of the Lakewood Bay Community Club. This is one of the nicer easements. It's got 14 boat slips, and they've got ample storage for canoes. You see them lined up along the fence there, kayaks, lots of space for stand-up paddle boards. They've got a huge sun deck down here with a covered area, a diving board. They've got restrooms here and electricity. This one's pretty deluxe. We're going to say goodbye to Lakewood Bay now and head back to the main lake. To do that, we've got to pass through Half Moon Bay again. This just never gets old. Okay, we're leaving Half Moon Bay here and entering the main lake. Way out in the distance, you can see the Forest Hills easement. The address is 1310 North Shore Road, and that's our next stop. This is a massively popular easement. They've got 20 boat slips here, tons of space for stand-up paddleboards, kayaks, canoes. They've even got 15 storage lockers, a bathroom, electricity, a private swimming area, and get this, Wi-Fi. These homes are on the north side of Lake Oswego. One of the things our clients who live along here really love is they get great natural light because of the southern exposure. We're headed straight toward Jansen Island. This is the location of one of the most prestigious private estates anywhere in Lake Oswego. Just beyond the bridge over to Jansen Island is the Uplands easement. Located at 1880 North Shore Road, they've got 10 boat slips here and enough rack space for 74 kayaks, stand-up paddleboards, and canoes. It's also a no-wake zone, so it feels very private and secluded back here. The The boats that you see anchored up ahead are in an area that locals refer to as the swimming hole. On a hot summer day, you get so many boats anchored out here, you can almost walk across them. It's party central. Okay, up ahead, our next easement is located at 1565 Bayview Lane. This is Village on the Lake. They've got 25 boat slips here and enough rack space for 42 kayaks, stand-up paddleboards, and canoes. But I love the decks. Look at this. It's one of the most picturesque easements anywhere on the lake. They've got several enclosed swimming areas. They've got a diving board. They've got a restroom. There's electricity down here. That comes in really handy in the summer. Moving on, next up is Oswego Shore Estates, located at 15865 Oswego Shore Court. They've got 4 boat slips here and enough rack space for about 8 kayaks and canoes. They've got electricity and a really cool sun deck and private swimming area.
Okay, if you're a person who's already living in Lake Oswego and you're considering a cross-town move to get into a home that has boat easement privileges, or maybe you're somewhere else in the Portland metro area or even out of state, we know that when it comes to boat slips, it can seem kind of overwhelming because it feels like, what are the chances that your number's ever going to come up when all of these boat easements have waiting lists? Well, don't lose hope. We've actually got a great local tip about that.
So the Lake Corporation actually allows 2 parties to do a boat share. Both parties have to be members of the same easement, but here's a way both parties can get on the lake quicker. One could be waiting for their boat slip, for their number to come up to get a boat slip. The other could own a boat, and the 2 come together and they get on the lake quicker in a boat share.
Yeah, people can share a boat that way. It's great. You can actually find out more information about that on the Lake Corporation website. There's also another feature on that website where you can look up easement eligibility by just keying in the first few numbers of a home's address. You can find out if any home in this town has access privileges to 1 or more boat easements. It's really handy.
Okay, let's get back in the lake.
We're heading for 2380 Summit Drive now. It's the small but mighty Summit Court easement. They've got 2 boat slips and a really great central location on the main lake. As we make our way around the lake, you've always got to remember to keep the boat on the outside of the orange buoys as we head toward the Springbrook Recreation Easement. This one's located at 2720 Summit Drive. It's got 5 boat slips. They've got a private restroom down here, electricity, and they've got a really cool swimming deck with a lawn, barbecue, some picnic tables, and a gazebo. As we move on, our next stop is 3050 Lakeview Boulevard. This is the Goodin easement. It's got 9 boat slips and enough rack space for 35 stand-up paddleboards, kayaks, and canoes. They've got a bathroom down here. They've got a play structure, a great grassy area for picnicking, and a private enclosed swimming area. All of the homes that you see along here are located on Lakeview Boulevard, and they're some of the most beautiful homes on the lake. To the right of the boat here, you can see the Lake Grove Swim Park. I'll always have a soft spot in my heart for this place because it's where our twin boys learned how to swim. It's also a great place to watch the 4th of July fireworks. Our next stop is the Lakeview Recreation Club. This one's located at 3951 South Shore Boulevard, and it's easily accessible from the street. It's got 16 boat slips, and they've got enough rack space for 43 stand-up paddleboards, kayaks, and canoes. They've got a restroom here and electricity. As we pull away from the Lakeview Recreation Club, we are treated to a spectacular view looking back down the main lake.
You know, I remember for the longest time, this is going back more than 20 years now, we were just dreaming about what it would be like to live in this town and to raise a family. And I just used to stay up at night into the wee hours of the morning, just surfing the internet to find as much information as I could about Lake Oswego.
You know, taking our twin boys on the boat over to the farmers market, to the Lake Theater, and to Stickman Restaurant, so much fun.
Yeah, it just seems like in the summertime,
Oh.
there's just always something going on this lake. There's concerts, there's special events. The 4th of July here is spectacular over the water.
So much fun. But sometimes it's just really nice to take an evening cruise with friends, just like I did last night. It's magic.
Oh, and don't forget wake surfing.
Don't you dare show that footage.
Oh, we won't. All right, so we're almost done, but let's get back to the boat tour.
We're at the southern end of the lake here, and to get to the next 2 easements on the tour, we've actually got to go down one of these canals. It's called the Key Lock Canal. The Woodside Circle easement is located at 4260 Woodside Circle. They've got space for 21 boats and some storage for kayaks, stand-up paddleboards, and canoes. They don't have a bathroom, but they do have electricity. Right next door, the Bryant Park easement is located at 18108 Pioneer Court. They've got 6 boat slips and some additional space for kayaks and paddleboards. We're back on the main lake here, heading for the Maple Circle easement, located at 16901 Maple Circle. The most unique thing about this easement is they have a low-level launch site. It's just 2 inches above the water, which makes it really easy to launch stand-up paddleboards, kayaks, and canoes. They've got space to store about 18 of those. They've also got extra storage down here, electricity, and a restroom and a shower. We're making our way around a buoy here as we head for 16848 Alder Circle. This is the Alder Point easement. It's one of the best places on the lake to watch 4th of July fireworks. They've also got a dedicated swim dock with a built-in kayak launch. They've got 6 boat slips and enough rack space for about 24 kayaks, stand-up paddleboards, and canoes. They've got running water here, electricity, and a restroom. Our next destination isn't too far away. It's the Blue Heron easement. It's located at 3215 South Shore Boulevard, and they've got 24 boat slips. They've also got a lot of extra storage along here for stand-up paddleboards, canoes, and kayaks. They've got electricity, and they've got a restroom. As we head toward the next easement, the homes that you see along here are on the south side of the lake, which is characterized in many places by a very high bank. That requires many homes to have stairways or funicular tramps to get down to the water. Turning the corner here at Phantom Bluff, we're headed for the Palisades easement. It's located at 2041 Cedar Court. They've got 8 boat slips here, plenty of space for stand-up paddleboards, kayaks, and canoes. It's a really long walk to get down to this easement, but it's one of the more picturesque and private ones on the lake.
And we're back. I'm loving this boat tour.
Yeah, me too. Okay, this is a little bit random, but this is a private lake. So you might be wondering, how do you get your boat on and off the lake? And where do you get gas? So there's only one boat ramp and one gas station. It's at the Lake Corporation headquarters.
Wow, we have covered a lot of ground today, but before we wrap up, just a few more things we want to mention. If you're somebody who's actually considering buying a home on the lake, it's important to know that when a home on the water sells, the buyer is actually responsible to pay what's called a transfer fee to the Lake Corporation. If you want to understand how that works, feel free to give me a call. I'd love to chat with you about that. Or you can always get on the Lake Corporation website. There's lots of helpful information there about all associated fees with the lake. There's also a handful of other lesser known ways to get on the lake that we wanted to mention to you. For example, on McVeigh Boulevard, there's a little office building. It's called the Oswego Landing and Private Marina. They actually have a private marina there with a small number of boat slips. They've got a waiting list also, but if you're looking for other options to get on the lake, you can find them on the internet. That might be another one to consider.
So, and also Villas on the Lake condominiums at the at State Street and McVeigh Avenue have some boat slips there too that are available.
On the south side of the lake, off of a street called Terrace Drive, there's actually a completely private and virtually unknown easement. It's called the Lakeside Terrace Easement. Man, this is one of the fanciest easements on the lake. It's only 11 or 12 homes, if I remember correctly, that have access to that easement, but they've got a gated entrance, they've got their own funicular tram, and their boat slips and their whole setup at the waterfront. It is beautiful.
Okay, we've put the cover back on the boat, and that's the end of our boat easement tour. Thanks for watching Live, Love Lake Oswego, the first real estate channel solely dedicated to all things Lake Oswego. If you'd ever like to have an exploratory conversation about buying or selling real estate here, please feel free to call or text me directly at the number on screen. Or if you'd just like to see more content about this amazing place that we call home, please consider subscribing.